Hello and welcome to another drive-in double feature. I'm Ryan.
I'm Nathan.
And this is the podcast where we talk about 2 movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before I get into anything, we have a Patreon over at patreon.com/drive-in double feature podcast. Just some stuff going on there. What's going on there? Who knows? Maybe you'll hear me. Maybe you'll hear Nathan. Maybe we'll hear us at all. Maybe there's somebody else over there. Maybe. Well, I mean, technically there is at least one episode, but
yeah, okay, yeah.
But yeah, just some real mysterious stuff in there. This real big mystery. You got to be a real sleuth to figure out what's over there. So go over there and try to solve the mystery at patreon.com/drive-in double feature podcast for only $5 a month. But don't worry. Everything's all out in the open here. There's no secrets here. But but anyway, today we are going to talk about today's Thursday movie, which is A Deadly Adoption from 2015, directed by Rachel Goldenberg. Now, we've talked about our fair share of Lifetime movies before, and this one, we've kept it real holiday themed. It's always been like holidays, so we haven't really seen like the normal Lifetime movie fare. And I thought now's a good time to see like a Lifetime movie, and because that's, it is a form of, like B movie, or like its own genre. Like
it really is.
It's like, so. I figured, what, we need to have some representation of that too, and I think this is a perfect movie for that. And, I just want to read out the cast list for this movie before we get started. It stars, the great Eric Palladino. We get to see Deborah Christopherson, it stars Jessica Lowndes and her star-making performance as Bridget. It's just she really shines above everyone in this movie. Just real star-making performance. Oh, and the parents, they're played by someone named Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig.
Yeah, real nobodies. It's a Lifetime movie, so
yeah. This they pulled from their roster of Lifetime people, and this is like, okay, I guess these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
No, okay, break the illusion. Yes, this movie stars Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig. It's they play this movie completely 100% straight. I've heard about this movie a long time ago, and I thought it was going to be like some big joke, but then I remember reading about it. It's like, no, it's 100% played for straight. I wanted Nathan to be completely in the dark for this as possible. I made him promise me not to look this movie up before he watched it, and I even didn't want to watch this before him because I didn't want this showing up on my letterbox before he could see it. So. Nathan, did you have any idea about this movie? Have you ever heard anything about this at all?
I have seen the poster, so it like kind of clicked in my head. I didn't know anything. I clicked the movie, started to play. And I think it's Will Ferrell you see first, and I was like, wait a second. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot because I've seen this poster because it's such a crappy poster. It's just red text, A Deadly Adoption, and it's got Will Ferrell, Kristen Wiig looking like dead serious on it. I didn't know what it was. I've always been intrigued, so I was like, oh, okay. I was kind of excited to get into it. Thought it was going to be a parody movie. Thought there would be way more jokes. But no, it's played completely seriously. I don't really have experience with Lifetime movies anyway, like as far as like the drama crime ones go. And I know like crime Lifetime movies are like a huge like sub B movie genre. What a fun way to get into it though, because it's so funny how like the casting of two people, they don't even have to make two jokes, but it just makes certain elements just a little funnier because it's both of them.
Oh, I mean, like So like when there's like scenes where like Will Ferrell's crying, and it's like he's doing like the crying bit from like his other movies
Hmm.
almost, and it's like just the fact that it's like Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig in this movie just immediately just made this movie so funny to
Yeah,
me. It's just
yeah,
like it's
yeah.
just like they play it so serious. Like, Will Ferrell puts on his like serious voice, like, "Oh yeah, we could go do that. I could take you out for lunch. No big deal." Just
Yeah.
it's just
No, I totally agree. There's just something about it because it's not the script written down is not funny, and if it didn't have them, it would probably just be a bad movie. It would just be like a kind of crappy movie. There's something I was just explaining this movie to my fiance. I was explaining, oh yeah, Kristen Wiig, she's she's Will Ferrell's wife, but she runs a organic fruit stand with her gay best friend. And I was just like, it just like that line sounds so funny with Kristen Wiig in front of it, and she's playing it seriously.
well, I mean, yeah, I haven't seen that many. I haven't seen Lifetime movies anyway, but I mean, I know what the basic premise is, and I
Hmm.
mean, none of them have ever been like exceptional movies that people
Hmm.
are known for, but it's like the same type of dialogue that we've seen in these other like Christmas movies. I mean,
Hmm.
granted, those are a little more lighthearted, but like they do have like the banter moments like between
Yes.
two characters. I'm like, oh my god, this is like the exact same like you would see in like
Hmm.
one of the other Christmas movies that we've talked about. It's just like
Hmm.
it's like oh like it's like oh it's like that's something you would say or whatever, and they're like,
Hmm.
oh, you like, why you give me such a hard time, like they just say
Yeah.
it with such a smile on their face. But yeah, these are like a story like this is something very Lifetime-esque, and even the plot of this movie is not very original at all. I mean, it's like the same plot you could see in one of these other like revenge or femme fatale type of movies.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. But you have to mention the opening scene. So
Oh, yeah, we haven't
what
even
an
gotten
opening.
into it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Oh, and I also have to bring up, did you see who one of the producers was on this movie? Adam McKay. Wonderful. Love the guy.
Yeah,
But yes,
fantastic. I love Don't Look Now.
don't look up.
Oh, excuse me. I was saying the other movie, Don't Look Down.
Oh, you were saying you like that one. You don't like Don't
just
Look Up.
just out of context, I was saying I love Don't Look Down.
Yeah.
but
Yeah, that is a good movie. Yeah.
no, yeah. So, like I was gonna say, this movie, it starts out like your basic type of movie. I mean, it's so funny like how the movie starts. So it's like Kristen Wiig and Will Ferrell hosting this like outdoor barbecue,
Hmm.
and they're like, I love it because it sets up like they spout out so much exposition in so little time.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, you're a big financial advisor. I bet you love this type of stuff. Like, hey, I just preach fiscal responsibility, okay? And it's just like, it's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
it just, I
It,
just like immediately I was like laughing at this movie.
yeah, no, yeah, it's so silly when you like think about it. And it's just like Will Ferrell just his delivery is so like just normal. I don't know. Like they're talking, and it's just like about the baby because he's holding a baby, and he's like, and they're like, "Oh, you're expecting one soon," and he's like, "Yeah, I can't wait." And then Kristen Wiig's down on the dock. He's like, he needs to get off of there. The wood's rotted. I've been meaning to fix it, and she's just down there waving. I forget. It's like, Captain, you need to drive me. I want to take the boat.
Robert,
Yeah,
last
Captain
call.
Robert.
Captain Robert, need you to put your life jacket on so we can take the boat out, you
Hmm.
rudderhead. And it's just he's like, oh, you like they just like
Hmm.
they're just they're loving life, and
Hmm.
then she just like the dog completely collapses,
Yeah.
and she almost drowns, and of course they lose the baby and everything, and it's
Mhm.
like this big somber moment, and like even like she's in the hospital, like they've lost their baby. It's like this super dark moment. Will Ferrell is sobbing, but
Hmm.
it's just like again, it's so hard to take serious.
No, it is. It's hard to take serious, especially Will Ferrell. Like, so he's done serious well before. I've seen him.
Yeah.
I like Stranger Than Fiction, and he's done before. Here, I don't know if it's the same. Here's one thing though. Kristen Wiig is actually doing a pretty decent job in this movie. I think she's really trying.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I think he's trying too.
I
I
think
think this
so.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, so I guess one context getting. I mean, like this was like a project headed up by Will Ferrell. I mean,
Hmm.
Will Ferrell wanted this to happen really badly. I mean,
Hmm.
it was kind of like this dream of his. He said he wanted to do a Lifetime movie, but he wanted
Hmm.
to do it completely straight. Um, but there's more I'll talk about later. But just getting into the movie, it's like they lose the baby. So and they again like 5 years have passed, and like just the darkest stuff has happened to this family. It's like Will Ferrell, he's growing out a beard. He looks so disheveled now,
Hmm.
and just
Hmm.
and they're able to fit in him just that second that he's like a recovering alcoholic.
Yeah, he's like on the conversation like over the computer, and she's just like, are you doing okay? Have you been drinking? Oh no, I'm good. And he doesn't want to see his fans. He can't see anybody. And he worries about their daughter constantly, right? Ever since the accident, his daughter has diabetes. So that's a big plot point.
Oh, that's a huge plot point. And there's stuff earlier in the movie where it's like they get into like this big argument because his Kristen Wiig left chocolates in the cabinet,
Hmm.
and it's like, how could you? Our daughter could have eaten this chocolate and died. And it's like, honey, like she should know better. She's a daughter. She should know better at this point. She's six. She doesn't know better.
Yeah, no, Will Ferrell is like his character. He blames himself for the dock accident. And the whole time I was like, well, I mean, it's kind of Kristen Wiig's fault that she was even on the dock. She should have known that the wood was rotted and she shouldn't have been on there. But he blames himself for it, and it tortures him every day. Um,
So we think.
so yeah, there might be a little bit something else there, but they want another kid. That's the best thing that could ever help a relationship. It's
Oh
always
yeah.
worked. Having a kid will remedy the situation, but they can't have a kid. And so they have to adopt. Boom, boom, boom. The deadly adoption. Hmm.
Yeah, totally deadly. That's
Hmm.
that's what I say about all adoptions.
Yeah. See, I didn't know the movie was going to be like this, where they have like a pregnant like lady, kind of like Juno, a surrogate mother. I thought it was going to be like they like what's that movie where they adopt the adult the adult
Orphan?
orphan? Yeah, exactly. I thought it was going to be similar to that, but no.
Like they just adopt a little person posing as a child?
Yeah, I thought for sure I was going to see another one of those movies.
No, I when they said a deadly adoption, I mean, because I didn't know anything about the premise of this movie. I mean, I knew
Hmm.
about it, what the gag was, but I didn't know about the actual premise. So I thought it was going to be like an evil baby or like an evil child or something, like
Yeah,
something like the good son or something
the bad
like that.
seed.
Yeah, something like that. It'd just be like this like little evil child or something.
Hmm.
But no, it's the mother, the pregnant woman that's the evil one in this one. And wouldn't you know it? I mean, they've gone through all these other mothers, but they're never been good enough for Robert. But this one, she's a fan of Robert. She's got his books and everything.
I think he
He's like,
says, "Oh, she's smart."
yeah. Oh, do you know you've read debt is a four-letter word? You know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and so Robert actually warms up to her. I think Kristen Wiig is ready, but the thing is she's living in a homeless shelter. So you know what? They invite her to live with them.
Well, so okay. I mean, I'm jumping way ahead here,
Okay.
but so I mean they go through this agency with her,
Hmm.
and that's I'm assuming the agent that they work with, like, works for this agency and she's not in on what's actually going on.
Yeah.
But so you would think if they have a pregnant woman with their agency, you'd think they'd find out if this woman was actually pregnant or not, right? Like,
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't think it's as simple as you walk into an office.
like a pregnant woman just
Yeah.
walks into a building and is like, I'm ready to give this kid away. And
Yeah,
they're like,
there's
okay,
like,
let's set you up. And
I almost bet you they do like background checks and everything for, because families are going to want to know that. They're going to want to know like where the baby came from, who this person is. um no, this lady gets to walk in with a fake pregnant bump and just yeah, okay, we'll get that adopted.
yeah, I mean, so yeah, the movie just kind of delves into that where it's like she's staying in the house with them. And, at first, she's like the perfect woman, she's like super polite and everything.
Mm.
I The funniest part though, like Kristen Wiig was, like she said she's really into organic food, and the woman, Bridget was like, it's like, oh, no, Kristen Wiig says to Bridget, like, oh, is there anything I can get for you? She's like, I'd love a big bowl of ice cream. And she's like, ooh, well, we actually do like the organic thing here, and we don't really have much ice cream in the house. And she goes, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, but then later it's like they have like stuff like cereal, and they have like
Yes,
eggs and
yeah.
bacon. I'm like, okay, this is a little, I mean, unless they're buying all organic ingredients, but still, I'm like, I don't know, there's some of this stuff's got to be processed.
Oh, I'm sure it is, but whatever. She's only organic when it's necessary.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely, aren't we
Yeah,
all?
exactly. Which is never.
You're eating your hot pocket right now.
Yeah, I eat and podcast all the time. But yeah, I mean, so really quickly the movie turns, and you think it's like a seduction movie, and it kind of is. And
Yeah.
yeah, and Bridget is trying to seduce Will Ferrell, and so the plot sets you up, and it's like, oh, she wants his money, and is going to cut her out of the picture. I love the reveal where she has the magazine with him and his wife, and she just rips the magazine. And it's just Will Ferrell. I'm like, oh, that's so
Um,
cliche. I love it.
yeah, yeah, I know. I was just, it's everything you've seen in other movies before. I mean, that's the thing this movie does. There's like a lot of callbacks to other movie
Hmm.
tropes. And I mean, it does like the whole thing where she like goes out and lays in the sun, like, and like
Hmm.
hoping Will Ferrell comes out, like, because at first they're like, oh, why don't we, like, Kristen Wiig goes out and works at the organic food stand, and
Mm.
they're like, oh, we'll meet you later. And then she's like, what, I don't feel like going, why don't we just stay here and hang out? And then like, I need some sunblock. So they get in the pantry, like looking for sunblock, and it's like this weird tension in there.
Yeah. I don't know if this is jumping a little too far ahead, but and we'll go back, but I guess
Sure.
that's the thing. He's right up in her face looking at her, right? And come to find out later is that he actually slept with her like a little bit before that. And I think she only her hair is different, right? You
Right.
telling me that Will Ferrell doesn't recognize this lady at all? I mean, I guess that's part of the pain. She's like, I was just a throwaway to you. But I guess I find it interesting that Will Ferrell doesn't recognize her one bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is a woman that's been living in his house for an
Hmm.
amount of time. And I mean, I guess I could, only thing that would kind of pass for it is like, he was really drunk when this
Yes, yeah.
happened, and maybe he doesn't remember. But yeah, because they have some foreshadowing where
Hmm.
he was talking about his last book tour, and he's just like, oh yeah, I'm never doing another book tour again. I got, things just get too crazy, like
Yeah,
I just like,
book tours,
yeah.
sex,
So
drugs, and books. Yeah.
all these wild book tours. But yeah, he ends up having an affair with them. And yeah, the funny part is like how he like realizes that this woman is not who she says she is, because she kidnaps their daughter that they already have. And
Hmm.
he goes into this woman's room like to look for clues, and then he sees his book in there, and he opens it and he just sees his signature and he's just like, like her.
Brain blast, like gets smacked with it, and we get to see that. And there's something so funny about seeing Will Ferrell crying after having sex with this woman. Like he regrets it. It's not supposed to be a funny moment, but just Will Ferrell in this situation, it's just silly.
Yeah. So many ridiculous moments, but yeah, the movie does take the turn there, and like I said, Bridget kidnaps their daughter, and they're trying to figure out. So he contacts the police, and they're trying to figure out what motive she would have for stealing the kid, for kidnapping her. And Will Ferrell is like trying not to give any details to the cops, and it's like, well, why wouldn't you trust her? Like, why? She's a stranger. Why would I trust her? Like,
I think
like they're like, but you haven't seen your daughter in like 2 hours. I mean, is it really that big of a deal? Like, is it really an emergency yet?
Yeah, and he's like, if that's even her real name, and they're like, why would you think that's not her real name?
Yeah. So I mean, just like he's trying really hard, and he does eventually come clean to Kristen Wiig, and she's funny in that scene too, because he reveals like, oh, I had sex with her, and now she's taking our daughter, and she's like, you underestimate me. If you think I'm mad at you because you slept with her, you're wrong. I'm mad at you because you endangered our family.
Yeah, I love that bit. And then she eventually, because I guess Bridget takes her to like a cabin, and the one of the funniest parts of this movie doesn't even have Kristen Wiig and Will Ferrell, is like how this, like, because she has like a boyfriend with her that's like they're gonna try to get money out of them by kidnapping the kid. And how they handle her diabetes is so funny, because like the boyfriend's like, yeah, I had a brother that had diabetes. You just feed her a couple candy bars. That's how you fix it. And then she's like sick. The little girl's sick like the rest of the movie because they don't know what to do.
Yeah, she's like, I don't feel good, and just like he's like, just lock her up in the room. Who cares?
Yeah, I think Bridget's like, just eat your candy, and everything will be okay.
Here, come on, just take 2 bites from me of your candy bar, and you'll start feeling better.
Yeah,
because then the boyfriend too, like he's eating a candy bar because she's like, I need you to go into because how they figure out, like, then there's this whole other subplot too, where like Kristen Wiig's like a co-worker, like her business partner or whatever, like he starts to suspect this girl is up to no good because he's catching her like on the phone yelling at people and having these weird conversations. So he plays detective and drives out there and confronts them, and he ends up getting murdered.
Yeah, the movie takes such a left turn with that one, where like he gets shot and he's out of the movie. He is dead. I thought they were going to kidnap him too. No, they kill him. I was like, I was not expecting that.
Oh yeah, it's so outrageous.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that, but it's, yeah. I mean, we could be here all day talking about it because it's so ridiculous and so far fetched. I mean, it's just like I have never. I mean, even if the movie was funny because Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig were in this movie, but I think even if it was, two nobodies that we've never heard of, like I still think this movie would be pretty entertaining to watch.
Oh yeah, we could still, if you picked this and it had like random people, it would be fun to talk about because it is. At the end of the day, it's a nonsense movie. There's like so many weird things. It's kind of silly, but it's just weird. You cast these two people in this very like played serious movie, and I think it just enhances the experience.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
So some of the stuff I do want to talk about before I end the recap and get into the behind the scenes, where it was like the Bridget, she like turns on her boyfriend and she ends up shooting him.
Yeah.
And you think he's dead because he gets shot in the stomach. But then later he's still alive, and then the police show up and like he's got like a hole in his stomach, and they're putting him in handcuffs, and he's just like scream, "She shot me!" Like, what are you doing? She shot me.
Yeah, there's the other bit, the Kristen Wiig gunfight where Bridget shows up in the garage and they like fight each other. Kristen Wiig like knocks the gun out of her hand, but then knocks out Kristen Wiig and puts her in like a running car in the garage, and that's where Kristen Wiig is for most of the finale. Is in that
Yeah,
garage.
yeah. She's like trying to kill her via smoke inhalation, and
Yeah.
and she ends up shooting Will Ferrell too, and
Mm-hmm.
Will Ferrell's bleeding. But anyway, the movie, yeah, he saves Kristen Wiig, and you think Kristen Wiig's out of the movie. He
Mm-hmm.
finally catches up to Bridget via a boat.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just seeing Will Ferrell like just like frantically like driving a boat too
Uh-huh.
was really funny too.
Mm-hmm.
And they're having their big final standoff at the end of the movie where Will Ferrell is like confronting Bridget, and he's just standing there in the middle of the road, and the truck crashes.
Yeah, with the little girl in it too.
Yeah, the little girl's totally fine. Bridget,
Uh-huh.
she's knocked out for a second. Little girl who was not wearing her seatbelt, totally fine.
Oh yeah, she was
Um,
fine after that wreck.
yeah, but yeah, they finally get to the point where like they're having this big standoff at the end. Bridget's got a gun pointed at Will Ferrell and the little girl, and Will Ferrell just kind of like whispers to her or whatever, and the little girl just jumps off the bridge, and she's just like, "Huh?" And then
Yeah.
then Will Ferrell jumps off the bridge with like an obvious stunt double.
Yeah,
It's like,
it does not look like him.
yeah. And
And
then
then
of course,
they drive off and everything works out in the end.
well, I was gonna say, and then Kristen Wiig like magically shows up out of nowhere to shoot Bridget.
Yes, yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, and then the movie ends with a dance. They all dance for an uncomfortably long amount of time.
Well, because they mentioned that earlier in the movie,
Hmm.
because they're like, "What happened to the Robert that used to love to dance to corny songs?"
Hmm.
And they're like, "We don't. He's not here anymore. Like that guy's
Hmm.
gone." And then, but now like he hears a song. It's like, "Hey, I love this song," and it's just like this like they're just dancing in the kitchen. And just how that's how the movie
Yeah,
ends.
and it lasts for so long. They
Oh
dance
yeah,
for like a way longer than you'd expect. It's such a cheesy ending. Um,
such a good time.
yeah. I mean, it was. I mean, like it's such an interesting movie. I think like the comedy comes from the seriousness and having these two people in it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting. I had fun with it.
yeah. So I mean, that's kind of what, like I said, the kind of the premise behind it was like Will Ferrell. He's seen Lifetime movies, and he thought it would be
Mm-mm.
kind of fun to do that, and they wanted it to be as authentic as possible. And he said he went to Lifetime, and Lifetime was like, he's like, I expect them to totally say no. Like I expect them to just be like, no, that's we're not doing that. But they were like, yeah, it sounds great.
Uh,
And they're like, it's like, are you sure? Like, yeah, please do it. Do a movie with
yeah,
Life. Yeah.
yeah. I can imagine like that would be. I don't see why it wouldn't be good for them.
I was like one of the biggest comedy stars, like like
Hmm.
two of the biggest comedy stars, like in a
Yeah.
movie together, like online. Like, yeah, okay, well, do whatever you want.
Yeah, I
And
don't care if you're making fun of us. I mean, people that watch these things probably think, oh yeah, this is kind of funny, cliche. We're watching the same stuff over and over. So
oh, I mean, I guarantee you, like even Lifetime fans would have to admit these movies aren't good. I mean, if you like
yeah.
watching them, that's different. That's a different story. But
Hmm.
as a whole, it's not a good movie, and that's what they wanted. They wanted it to be authentic as possible, and Will Ferrell was like even quoted as saying, "It's like if you think this is one of the worst things that you've seen," he's like, "I can't argue with you. I mean, it's like that's like the dialogue is bad.
Hmm.
The acting is not great." He said, but we wanted it to be with like in like the same vein. Like they use like the Lifetime, like the Rachel Lee Goldenberg. She's a Lifetime movie director, and she actually after she did this movie, she actually started to do like some actual comedy movies
Oh, that's
after
cool.
this. Probably gave her a nice end from that, and uh, they were just talking about how Will Ferrell was wanting to do this, and he asked Kristen Wiig, and he said Kristen Wiig was totally on board with this whole thing. And he said like his agent, I don't know if it's still his agent, he said his agent was extremely disappointed that he did this movie. and,
That's funny.
and they wanted this to just to be completely like in the dark, and they're like, he said that, you know, this is one of like the most favorite things that he's done because it's just it's so baffling.
Yeah, it's kind of absurd, right? The
Yeah.
whole idea in the middle of his career is this.
Yeah. And he said that this is kind of like his nod to like someone like Andy Kaufman, like just doing something completely absurd where it's just
Yeah.
like people don't understand what this is. It's like it's so awkward that it's funny type of thing. And one funny bit he was saying is like the sheriff in this movie, which I did say his name, Eric Palladino, and he said he went like he like told Will Ferrell like he's like, hey, what's going on here? Like, because he didn't, I guess he didn't understand. He's like this dialogue in this movie is bad. Like this is not good what you guys are filming, right? You know, don't worry about it. It's fine. um, so I mean, he just said like, you know, this is one of the most favorite things that he's done, and just like nobody really expected him to make something like this, you know, because you know he's probably, you know, one of the biggest comedy stars in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So
sure.
you know, it'd be like a keen to like, you know, like one of the biggest action stars of all time, you know, like just it'd be like Tom Cruise, like, oh, I'm gonna do it like a shitty straight to DVD like action movie or something like that.
Yeah. Or like Bruce Willis doing that.
Well, he couldn't help it.
Yeah, true. That was that joke became a little mean.
John Travolta.
There we go.
But yeah, I think this movie, I mean, like I said, as a movie, it's a bad movie. If you're judging this based off of the movie, it's not good. But because of the absurdity of the story alone, not even including the people that are in this movie, it was a really entertaining watch for me. And then just putting Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig in here, just like trying their best and like trying to be serious people in this movie, just made it even funnier for me.
No, I agree. I mirror what you say. It's like it's just a normal crappy movie, but like just I don't know, it was so fun. Like if it's kind of like the Hallmark Christmas movies. I feel like every time I watch the Hallmark Christmas movies, I'm like, oh well, it was entertaining. There's so much to talk about these. Once again, it's just another one of these, but you have Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig to add on to that, which is why I say it's on YouTube. It's free. Check it out. If it sounds like you'll have a good time if you just watch it.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is a great movie to like just sit and just laugh at. I mean, that's the whole point of it, and I think so. In my opinion, it's an easy watch for me. It's short too. It's only like 85 minutes, so it's not a long movie by any means. So I'd definitely say give it a watch if you know what it is going into it. But I think that's gonna do it for this week, Nathan. So what are we going to be talking about next week?
Ryan, we've been recording for so long. I finally need to eat something. So let's do some eating with movies with Eaten Alive from Umberto Lenzi. I hope they eat something good. I hope it's like a Thanksgiving movie because I'm in the mood for like a turkey dinner. But that is streaming over on Tubi. But Ryan, what are we going to be talking about on Thursday?
Nathan, after one meal, I'm still hungry. I don't know what it is. I feel like I haven't eaten enough. So we're going to be talking about 1976's Eaten Alive.
What? No way.
No way. Totally natural.
Yeah.
That's the one directed by Tobe Hooper, and that one is also for free on Tubi right now. And those Tubi people, like, how many Eaten Alive movies do they have on Tubi?
I don't know, but good thing we didn't pick this Eaten Alive that has a blurred out poster on Letterboxd. Maybe next time.
Oh, you want to change your pick? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I meant. No. No, I'm excited to have an Eaten Alive double feature.
All right. Well, if you got any recipes or any food tips for us, head on over to drive-in double feature podcast at gmail.com and leave us a suggestion right now. And don't forget to follow us on X at DIDFpod. And once again, check out the Patreon at patreon.com/driving double feature podcast. But until next time.
Until next time.